I can't really see without my glasses, but oh, really good to see you now. Rainey, nice to see you. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday celebration here at Hilltop. So welcome to us that are live. Hi, Marilyn, Bob. And, and welcome to everyone who's in our virtual world, whether you're with us this very moment or whether you're with us like whenever. We welcome you. We're so glad that you tune in and hang with us. So we have our beautiful, lovely, special guest minister and musician who will be here shortly. So Rev Angela.
I think I'm going to go denim.
Nah.
No?
Okay. Somebody else. Rev Angela Geary.
Okay.
And there we go.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we were just going to say hello to Rev Angela and see if there was something that you wanted to share. Our beloved Rev Guy is speaking in Seal Beach, and so we have an opportunity to share our time. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you all. It's nice to be here. Nothing really new, just a lot of good stuff happening. I'm excited about what I'm going to share with you today. I found a couple of new books I'm really interested in. One's called Radical Wholeness, and the other is Grounded Spirituality. And it's all about the combining of the head and the body, the mind and the intelligence of the body, and the masculine and the feminine, the new energy that's coming in. So I'm sort of lit up around that. It's always exciting to find, new things to read and new material. It's not really new. I don't think there is any new information. I think it's about integrating all the information that we already have, actually, and living it. So I'm excited to share all that with you today and love being with you. Beautiful community, and it felt so alive. There's lots of vitality in the building, and we were greeted by 3 beautiful smiling faces and kind of ushered in. So thank you for the love, definitely. Yeah.
And I think Lee is helping us rouse up Sonny so he can play some music for us. I wonder if he's in the library. But so we're going to, I think what I'll do to start, just to do something brief, is I wanted to acknowledge, of course, Memorial Day, and acknowledging this time where we honor those who have served and honor all of those all around the world who are serving now, and all of those who have passed in the way of service. So while we're getting set, just take a brief moment to just feel your heart and maybe go inside, and we'll pause for a few seconds in honoring this Memorial Day weekend. Blessings to all. And whenever you're ready, Sonny, if you'd like to bring in some music. Welcome to Sonny Sampson, who is our guest musician. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you.
I wasn't out back smoking a cigarette. I had a request, and so I was out trying to sort through it. And I got there partially, so I'm only going to do a bit of it and then do the regular program. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world, etc., etc. To be continued. Okay. Let's see where we are now. So sometimes songs come through and you just don't know where they come from. You kind of know, but this one I'm having so much fun with. Let me grab my cable. So we know God or spirits is busy as can be. I almost said as busy as hell, which I didn't say. So this song, that's kind of the genesis of this song. As busy as they are, you always have time for me. 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 I think you like my company. You always have time for me. Life changed when you came through. Every day is something new. Your spirit and your grace puts a smile on my face. Lord, you always have time for me. 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 When the road was hard to cross, you got me through the hardest part. When my faith was weak and it needed to turn, washed in your blessing, I did learn. You always have time for me. 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 My life changed when you came through. Your love pushed on through. Sweeter than the rainy day. Your love increased my faith. I got a love for you, my Lord. I got a love for you, my Lord. I got a love for you, my love. It don't matter when I call, your light is always on. Your door is never closed. When my life got hard, you brought me through the hardest part. My faith grew in your name. You always have time for me. 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 I think you like my company. Thank you. Thank you.
Opening song. Yeah, and what a perfect way to slide into prayer. Oh, yeah. So that's now, right? You always have time for me. how beautiful. So I invite you to feel the presence. However you feel the presence, I invite you right here and now, right here and now. It's easy here, we're in a sacred sanctuary. We feel the presence. So I invite you to feel the presence. Breathe in, breathe out, long and slow, and ground yourself in this divine being and divine becoming. It is who I am. It is who we are. You always have time for me. May each and every one of us know that every single moment, every single day, especially when we feel it and especially when we don't. You always have time for me. I am never forgotten. I am never forsaken. We are always remembered. We're here and we are everywhere. You always have time for me. I am the one. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the light. I honor all the beings of light and love, here and now, forevermore, that ignite my heart with truth, that fill my being with love, that set me on the right course each and every day, that I take the time to remember thee, for you always remember me. So blessed be, yes, this is a beautiful service. It already is. We are already blessed. Indeed I am. We are. And I am so grateful for all that is, right here and now. So thank you for that sacred pause. And we carry this consciousness with us. And the reading is by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. And it says, love says, I am everything. Wisdom says, I am nothing. Between the two, my life flows. So we remember people in our hearts that have left us, and we remember people who may be needing this love right now in our loving kindness, generosity, prayer of metta, loving kindness. And so, of course, as we do always, we start with I am. I am. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. And from this place, I look at you. We feel others around the world. And we say, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. And then as a united one, a united whole, a united being of all that is, that I am, that we are, we say, may we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. And so it is. So we'll sit for a little bit longer. We'll gather in the spirit of sacred pause for a 3-minute silent meditation. Thank you, Lee. And so it is. So we invite Sonny to play another melody for us. Thank you.
I'm gonna live the life I sing about in my song. I'm gonna do the right and shun the wrong. I'm gonna live the life I sing about in my song. I can go to church on Sunday, shout all day Sunday, go out and be rude to my neighbor on a Monday. I got to live the life I sing about in my song. On the street or in my home, on the busy highway or when I'm alone. People may spot me, they may stop me and think I'm foolish, but I don't care. I got to live the life I sing about in my song. Yes, got to live the life, got to live it right. I can't go to church, shout all day Sunday, go out and be rude to my neighbor on a Monday. I got to live the life I sing about in my song. I got to live the life, you know, that I sing about in my song. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonny. Thank you. And once again, Rev. Angela Geary.
It's a quick intro. Standing closer over here, right? That's for the camera. So good to see everybody. So grateful to be here. Let's just take a breath together. I'm going to invite us to keep breathing deep into our belly, to really feel and hear and experience what I'm talking about today. Because, you know, I think that as species, it is said, we are being transmuted, literally. We are being shifted and changed. We are being called to come back home, to come back in to the body. And Peter, why does my name escape me? Why does the name escape me? Philip Shepherd says, particularly to the genius of the pelvic bowl. Because that's where resonance is. That's where feelings are. That's where we relate and resonate with the world. And so his story, he wrote Radical Wholeness, is an amazing story. At 18, he was sort of at a crossroads in his life. He lived in Toronto. and he was all set to go to university to study physics. And yet the theater and acting and poetry and all of that was really calling him at the same time. And he was particularly drawn to this Japanese type of theater that was born in the 13th century called Noi theater, N-O-Y, I think is how you say it. And what he really loved about that was it brought him into deep connection with the fullness of life and with his whole being. And so he took the road less traveled, so to speak, and he actually got a plane to London and bicycled his way across to Japan and studied this type of theater, and is a lot older now, and wrote the book Radical Wholeness. And what he talks about is, and it's really nothing, it's not brand new information, but it's so pertinent to our times right now, is that, you know, in Neolithic times, we were so grounded in our bodies that it was the goddess, the divine feminine. It was the singing, the chanting, the dancing, the giving birth, the lovemaking, all of that, which was that was the way people celebrated spirit. It was in the feeling tone of it. It was in the resonance with the earth itself that spirit lived. And he said the moment we started to put a seed in the ground, tyranny was born. Which is an interesting thing, because when you put a seed in the ground, then you had to cut away the little green shoot that came up that was the weed. And then you had to start to kind of kill the animal that might come along to eat the seed. And then maybe you had to cut down the tree that was shading the seed from the sun. And so so we started to move. We started to move from living in oneness with Mother Earth, living deep with our connection and resonance with it, that we moved from the pelvic bowl up into the head, and that we put God up there, and we put and we traveled up, and we haven't fully come back since. We haven't come back. And that much of spirituality is based on the patriarchal system of from the head up. And that even some of the practices and techniques are not about being fully here, experiencing life. That's grounded spirituality, being in whatever is going on. Our life is our path, whatever is showing up. In our health, with our finances, with our relationships, with any aspect of our life. Our life is our spiritual path. You know, Jeff Brown says spirituality is reality. And not that there's anything wrong with meditating, not that there's anything wrong with going into those altered states that take us out of some of the worry and anxiety of the world, and it can't be the only way. Because otherwise we have a spirituality that just numbs and distracts us. And so the journey is, you know, it's both and. Both are needed. And the feminine, the feeling, the resonating, the grounded spirituality of the divine feminine, and the intellect of the masculine. They bless each other. They need each other. You know, the divine masculine, or the masculine energy in us, it focuses and it asserts. Like we've had that, right? Okay, I'm clear. I got to make this decision and I got to do it right now. My head is telling me. But if we bring in the divine feminine, if we go into what they call our second brain, which in Neolithic times was the first brain, right? The brain of the gut, the intuition, the knowing, the divine feminine gathers and holds. Doesn't have to jump into action because the head says, go, 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 go now. Hold and gathers. And we can bring both of those parts down together to meet. He says we're creating this new species rather than Homo sapiens. He has this term, Holo sapiens, tasting the whole. Tasting the whole. I'm just going to read a little from Radical Wholeness. With me so far? Okay. Holio sapiens then refers to the inner sense that allows us to feel the whole. When we call ourselves Homo sapiens, we are indicating that our species is the human that knows, or God help us, the wise human. Holo sapiens then refers to the inner sense that allows us to feel the whole. If we were to recover that sense, it might someday support our claim to be wise. Holy sapience is not just one more sense to add to your tool list. In terms of what it means to be human, Holo sapiens is your primary sense because it attunes you to reality, which is your primary relationship. As we have seen, reality is inseparable from wholeness. Talking about wholeness this month, right? So he says, dogma stands independent of the body. Dogma stands independent of the body. We can know everything. We can know and have so much book sense and know all the principles and teachings and who said what and when they said it and quote it and be all of that. But as your wise leader, Reverend Guy Williams once said, knowledge, is the booby prize if we don't act on it. It has to be married with the divine feminine. It has to be integrated deep into the body to make any difference at all. Because look where it's gotten us. We have to arrive at this place in the middle where we can be both. And that questions facilitate this process of being in relationship with life and being in the fullness and magic of life. The answers dull it. And when we think about questions, the word questions, if you look at that word, it's quest, the unknown, the adventure, the journey. And that's another distinction between the feminine and the masculine. The masculine needs to know, and it's good to know. It's good to know. There's a lot of talk these days about it's time for the return of the divine feminine and kind of demonizing the masculine. And both are so important. They bless each other. They work in tandem with each other. They really do. We need to know and be clear. But we also need to feel. And it's the dance of opposites, really, that is going to bring us to this place of that we're seeking to go to. So they move us forward. They dance together, the masculine, the feminine, the tyrant, the hero, the head, the heart, the body, the mind, the light, the dark, right? So we move out of that head-down consciousness that we've been in. And we come into an inclusive consciousness now that unites the intelligence of the mind and the brain with the sensory intelligence of the body. And as I said, as he calls it, the integrative genius of the pelvic bowl. We come in. We come back to feeling, to notice the world rather than wanting to control it. We come back to dancing together. We come back to our spiritual practices of drumming and chanting and holding each other through our tears and through our angst, that it's all part of our journey of this divine dance to set us free. He says, as soon as the male comes out of relationship with the female, tyranny is born. So that masculine pull that we've been in has pulled us away from this. And he said our whole experience of the self then is one of contracted fantasy of supervision. We feel like we have to supervise. We feel like we have to control. We have to organize everything. And really more than that, when we're in our head and in our minds, we feel like we're alone. We're separate. We're cut off. And that's so not the truth. We know that, right? We feel that truth when we come down into our bodies, that we're not alone. Because when we dull ourselves to the body, we dull ourselves to the resources and the resonance of the world. That's what happens. And that's the beauty. Now, we have fears of coming back into the body, and especially the pelvic bowl, because that's where all that stuff is stored. We'll get to that in a minute. But the beauty of it is, that's where the joy and the spontaneity and the aliveness and the vitality are. And that's where our resonance with the world can be. That's where we get into deep relationship with the world and with each other, is when we're down there living in our bodies. And the body is a resonator, he said. It's the bell that rings to the world, every current that trembles through it. And through that resonance, we feel, know, and commune with the world around us. It's felt experience. If our body is dull to that, if it's constricted and contracted and kind of full of fluff and cotton balls, we have no resonance. We have no connection. And then the present moment itself ceases to be a source of guidance for us. It just becomes another thing to manage. And all we can do is guide ourselves and be in the head and take charge and try to outthink our life. Ever done that? Try to outthink our life. We know. We have an innate intuitive wisdom, but guess what? It doesn't live in the head. So when we cut ourselves off from our body, and especially from our gut, we cut ourselves off from that intuitive wisdom and knowing. And when we are living fully in our bodies, there's a feeling of safety and security. We're resonating with all that is. And the body teems with wisdom. The body teems with mind. It processes 1,000,000 times more information than we could ever imagine in one day. It's an amazing thing. We can rely on it. Something I wanted to read before I go off on that tangent. Grounded. So the other book is Grounded Spirituality by Jeff Brown. 162. Actually, this is from Philip Shepherd. Embodiment isn't about sitting in the head and paying attention to the part of you we call the body. It's about fully inhabiting the intelligence of the body and attuning to the world through it. It's about listening to the world through the body. It's about feeling the world through the breath. For our purpose, then, we might say that embodiment is a state in which your entire intelligence is experienced as a coherent unity attuned to the world. In that state, any distinction between mind and body's energy becomes meaningless. And then Jeff Brown says, in other words, it's not about removing the mind from the equation, as many spiritual patriarchal have suggested. It's about bringing the mind into dialogue with the felt experience of the body and bringing the energies and wisdom of the body, including the heart's wisdom, cellular wisdom, and the intuitive wisdom stored within the pelvic bowl, into alignment with each other. Into alignment with each other. Drop in, drop down. Breathe in right now. Where are you feeling these words of truth? It's not something to be grasped with the head. This is why so many spiritual teachers use dichotomies and paradoxes, so that we can get lost in it, so we can't work it out in the head. But we know truth when we hear it. We feel it. We may not be able to write a paper on it instantly, but we feel and resonate with the truth. And that's whole. We feel into the wholeness. We feel through its resonance what's happening here and now. So the being and the doing, again, we need both. We need the divine feminine that gathers and holds. We need the divine masculine that focuses and asserts. And we do gain perspective by drawing away from the body. We need to draw away sometimes, especially when we're in a lot of angst and all that. We need to draw away, but the problem is we need to come back then. We then draw away, we gain the perspective of the masculine, and then we drop back in so that we feel connected again. The feminine pull attunes to wholeness. It doesn't analyze it, it integrates it. See the difference? They're subtle. It integrates it. And it yearns to come into relationship. The divine feminine yearns to come into relationship. And what does that mean? That means I can look out and see you all and know you're there. And I can know the sound people are back there. And there's a guitar over there. And there's all this beauty. I can know that with my head. But when I drop in, when I'm really present and deep in my body, deep in that pelvic bowl, I can experience, I can be in relationship with each of you. I can be in relationship with the guitar that's over there. I can be in relationship with the flowers that are blooming. I'm there. I'm present. It's not just an idea. Oh, yeah. And when I drop in, I'm present. Can we feel it right now? We're all doing it right now. We're present. There is nothing other than this moment. The head won't stay present for very long. The monkey mind loves to jump around from thought to thought, and it will get distracted. And when it hears truth, the mind or the ego will come up and negate it or find a judgment or something. Not so when we're deep down in here. And again, it's really about the integration of both. And when that happens, when we feel the presence of everything, we are in communion. I love that word. We are in communion with the living world around us. This is what shows up in quantum physics. We know that nothing changes until we observe it. That when you look at a particle of light or particles of light, there's been lots of studies, not just think about them. They don't change if we just close our eyes and think about them. They change when they're observed, when it's a full body experience. Because when we observe something, we're in relationship with it. And we're one with the very particles that we're looking at. That's what we feel too. We feel our oneness, not our separateness when we're really living and dancing and being fully in the body. The word consciousness traces back to the Latin word to be mutually aware. To be mutually aware. It's about relationship. Consciousness is about relationship. It's about how the world feels to us in its wholeness and how we receive the world. That's the other beauty of the divine masculine and feminine. The divine masculine gives. Both aspects give and both aspects receive, but particularly some in our head up journey, we have forgotten how to be open, how to receive the beauty that is all around us. You know, some say, Ken Wilber, and I forget who it was before him, talked about beauty, truth, and goodness. God is beauty, truth, and goodness. That means God is head, heart, pelvic bowl. We don't get to experience beauty without being in our bodies, without the divine feminine that sees and feels and senses the beauty in a piece of music, in words that are spoken. You know, it so takes both. Sonny and I love to watch that show, The Voice. It's people, you got it, most of you know. It's so wonderful about that is that, you know, people can be, and some people come in and they've been doing music and singing for a long time and they're classically trained, or they've gone to school to train, and others have just been busking on the streets for a few weeks and they come in. It doesn't matter how much training and how perfect the pitch is if you don't have it, the X factor. That means that you live in your body. It means I'm here. I'm singing from here. I'm reading my poetry. I'm speaking my word, but in this case, I'm singing from here. And I'm bringing everything that I have ever experienced in my life, the angst and the pain, often is necessary for us to really feel a song. But the joy and the connection and the relationship that I have with the world and that they have with the audience, that's what makes someone stand out. And what I notice, what I'm so aware of, is where I feel it. Some people can sing and it's like, yeah, they're good. But you feel it in your body. You know what I'm talking about, right? Some people say it's like God bumps or goosebumps or just that feeling. Or sometimes you just want to cry. You're moved. We're moved. The divine feminine moves us. It's passionate. It's there for the experience of it. The mind is needed. The studying of practicing and studying keys and musicians and all that the masculine brings us is very, very important. But stand alone, it's not enough. And sometimes it's not enough to not practice and not train we need both. I think we're getting that point, right? So he says, you know, that the masculine looks at and assesses the world from a distance, and the feminine receives the world and knows it as itself. The masculine looks at and assesses the world from a distance. There's God up there. There's me, and there's all of you out there. There's me and all the guitar and all that stuff, but we're separate. The feminine receives the world, lets it in on a cellular level, and knows it as itself. In your eyes, it's me I see. There's only one of us here. We're all beating hearts together. We're all in this. And the masculine, we have become obsessed with self-achieved independence, right? The rugged individualist. And there's nothing wrong with being, again, independent. Certainly don't want to be dependent, but that can lead us to a sense of feeling all alone. The feminine is in interrelationship with all that is. All about relationship. Where am I going? Got lost in the feeling of it all here. Let's see. I think I wanted to read a little excerpt about the monkey heart. You heard about the monkey heart. Apparently it's not the monkey mind, folks. It's the monkey heart. We have work to do. So this is from Jeff Brown, Grounded Spirituality. The primary source of our unhappiness is not our thoughts. The monkey mind is not the source of our anxiety. It is a symptom of it. Forget the monkey mind. The mind is not the enemy. Unhealed pain is. And breathe. Breathe. Men have been blaming the mind for their neurosis for centuries, while deftly avoiding that which sources its maladies. Somatic constrictions and unpressed emotions stored in the body itself. It's like losing your keys somewhere in the house and looking for them in the car. Useless, useless, useless. Until we stop blaming the mind and recognize that its neurosis stems from the unresolved emotional body, there will be no liberation. Shifting out of unhappiness is not a cerebral process. That's just another ineffective Band-Aid. It is a visceral, full body experience. It's the monkey heart that's the issue. The state of inner turbulence and agitation that emanates from an unclear heart. The more repressed your emotional body, the more repetitive your thoughts. Flooded with unhealed emotions and unexpressed truths, the monkey heart jumps from treetop to treetop, emoting without grounding, dancing in its confusion. Often misinterpreted as a monkey mind, the monkey heart is reflected in repetitive thinking, perpetual anxiety, and negative imaginings, all of which are emanating from the emotional body. All right, are we breathing still? So we come home. That's just it. We're coming home. And we are being transmuted right now. And I know I've said this every month I've been here since we've moved back here, but I do sense the intenseness that is going on in the world, within my own body and being, and with the influx of clients that I'm having, more and more people ready to do breath work, ready to do somatic body work, ready to know that there's really no other meditation or affirmation or anything that is really going to give them the shift that they need. There's a calling to come home and to trust the body's wisdom and to unclutter the body. To come home to it means to come home to the full range of feelings that are in there and not to be afraid of them. And I've told this little story, several of you have heard it probably too many times now, but I do just want to end with the story of the Buddha and Maya, because I can't really give a talk about coming home to the body and the divine feminine without mentioning feelings, right? But we have to. Is that you all know Buddha struck the Maya, the god of darkness, illusion, greed, jealousy. The shadow side of Buddha was Maya, and he kept showing up in Buddha's life. And he showed up one particular day when the Buddha had a gathering of people in a field out in the country. And Maya was seen around the outskirts of the crowd. And Ananda, Buddha's assistant, was kind of freaking out a bit. Maya's here, what are we going to do? Which kind of what we do sometimes, right? My feelings are here, my dark side's here, what are we going to do? And the Buddha was all chilled out, no worries. And he went to where Maya was standing. And he said to him, "Hello, Maya, I see that you're here. Let's have tea. Let's have tea." So what he didn't do is say, "Go away, Maya. I'm in my God spiritual self right now and I don't want to see you." What he didn't do is go into, that kind of thinking. It's all an illusion. There is no field. There is no Buddha. There is no Maya. None of that. No. What shows up? In this case, Maya. What shows up in our landscape, what shows up in our world, who shows up, is all part of the divine appointment. It's all part of the spiritual reality of our life. Our path is the way. And Buddha learned to work with Maya throughout his lifetime. And the teaching is that no matter how awakened or awakening we feel and get, we are always going to be dealing with shadow side. It's going to rear its head. And we don't need to be afraid of it because we know the power of the light within us. We know the power of the joy within us. We know the power of spirit within us, the freedom, the beauty, the harmony, and the grace. So we can simply say, "I see you." Put our hand on our belly. I see you. That's an old pain, isn't it? Let's move it through so we can be fully present in the moment, because when we shut down to some feelings, we shut down to all the rest too. The Divine Feminine is calling us into passion, into joy, into our power, into compassion and love and light. And if we're shut down because we won't fully access our fear, our anger, our sorrow, our sadness, and it's not about staying there, but moving it through, we can't experience all those other wonderful experiences we're called to be. And to be a resonator, to feel the resonance of the world deep in every cell of our being, we have to keep uncluttering the cells in our body. We have to keep processing through so that we can stay open, open-hearted, undefended, ready to receive the world as the Divine Feminine is, ready to continue that journey, ready to, maybe where they meet is right in this power center of the solar plexus, where the wisdom and the intelligence of the mind comes through, but it doesn't stop here. It keeps on keeping on, all the way down deep. And the sensory intelligence of the Divine Feminine in all her beauty joins it there. And at our place of power, we can say, "Here I am in the wholeness that I was born to be. Light and dark, masculine and feminine, hero and tyrant. All of me is the wholeness that God is." I'll end with a quote. Ultimately, our head-centric way of being keeps us in a stressful, self-perpetuating loop. Top-down living disrupts wholeness, and lack of wholeness induces anxiety. Anxiety makes us yearn for more control. More control is promised by top-down management, both within the self and within society, even if it further disrupts wholeness. Every thought ripples through the universe. Philip Shepherd says, aloneness is an untenable fantasy. There's no way we can ever be alone. In the head, we feel cut off alone, cut off from the body as a bridge between spirit and the human. When we trust, we're not alone. When we live deep in our body, we have everything that we need to feel safe and to be the light beings that we're here to be and to shine our lights. So let us pray. Let us breathe. Breathe in right now. We're doing it. Drop in. Drop down. That's the practice. Rather than when we go to meditation trying to drift off to some place always that takes us up, up and away, how about practicing dropping in and dropping down? What do I notice when I breathe into my belly? Can I breathe into my belly? Can I trust that wisdom there? And we know that Mother, Father, God is all there is. The divine masculine, the divine feminine dancing beautifully together through all of creation, showing up in the beauty, truth, and goodness everywhere, in everyone, all of the time. So clear it's here, now, speaking through and as me, and shining its light as all of us and all as sentient beings. So let the transmutation continue. Let us continue to rise up and rise strong. Let us continue to marry the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the head, the mind, with the heart and the body. Let us continue to deepen into the wholeness that we're born to be, honoring all of it, the joy and the sorrow, the anger and the power, the pain and the ecstasy. Let us live this life of wholeness that we're born to live. How grateful I am for spirit alive and well, for knowing that yes, these are intense times on the planet, and this is an ordained disaster. This is divinely ordained because we are being called to come back home to our bodies, back home to our feeling, back home to grounded spirituality, back home to the earth, and back home to each other, to live in relationship with it all, to live in divine relationship with the earth, to live in divine relationship with our bodies, and to live in divine relationship with each other and all things and all beings. How grateful I am that this is happening even right now as I speak these words, and all the courage and all the strength that we need for the journey continues to vibrate and pulsate in every cell of our being. We are alive, well, perfect, whole, and complete in the divine always. I release my word now. The word is spoken by the divine masculine. The word is received by the divine feminine. That immutable law that receives these words I speak. They marry together in this prayer. And I surrender them, knowing she has received them and holds them and nurtures them in her womb until the perfect right time for them to show up in manifestation. And they do, and they will show up. And I release it, and in the release, I surrender the time, I surrender the way to spirit, trusting in it. And with a grateful heart, I let it all be, and so it is. Amen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Reverend. I learned something, and I may as well just go forward. We're family. There was a basketball game last night. I don't know if anybody saw it. Those three, in the end, this one player, all he had to do to win the game was make 3 foul shots. 3. He was successful, but from what you've been saying, Angie, I get the feeling that the divine feminine and the masculine came together. Because if he was just in his head, I think he would have gotten worried, or some doubt would have come in, because he proceeded with no doubt. And this, millions of people are watching this, and there he is at the line, and no signs of nervousness, nothing, just boom, boom, boom. And we're awed, but now I have some understanding from what it had to have been a blend of both, because the mind would have definitely said, ah! And that's what, we were all taken this morning, still so impressed because the pressure, but how do we deal with it? It's that combination of both. So thank you, my dear. Yes. Little volume. When dark clouds fill the sky, hiding sunlight from your eyes, say God's name, see God's form, and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Say God's name, see God's form, and hold on. When things are getting rough and you feel you had enough, say God's name, see God's form, and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Say God's name, see God's form, and hold on. Keep a smile and say I can love and serve across this land. Say God's name, see God's form, and hold on. And know you're gonna make it. You will get through. You've never been abandoned. God is holding you. Hold on. Hold on. Say God's form, see God's name, and hold on. Say God's form and see God's name, and hold on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Divine Beloved, Rev Angela. Thank you for that amazing conversation, wholeness, and the path that we walk every day, every moment. So I am grateful already, feeling so lifted up and even grounded at the same time. In the head, just feeling grounded in it all. So thank you again and again. And to all of you that are here. So in this time of conscious giving, hey Tim, in this time of conscious giving, we give with our heart because we love. We love each other. We love this place. We love Rev Angela and Sonny and Lee. We love each other. And so that's how we give. We give with love. So as you give and as you have that gift in your hand, send your love through it. Hold it with that love. Feel it with that love. Let it grow exponentially in love. And how grateful I am that you do give. How grateful we are that you give. We send it forth. So be it.
I am so blessed. I am am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. So we are complete. I do not recall that there are any announcements. I will be in the Emerson room in about 10 minutes for a prayer circle. And in completion, we will do a benediction. Would you like to do that, my dearest?
All right. Why don't we stand? Can we stand? We stretch, feel into each other and into our bodies, and just, if you want to hold hands, but just, let's just feel ourselves grounded, our feet on the floor, breath into our belly, and those beautiful minds open, the open mind and the open heart, and feel our oneness here. Feel the joy and the vibration we've created here together. Like Andrea said, we can be grounded and here and in our bodies and in this moment and in the ground, and we can be floating and high on spirit all at the same time. So how grateful I am for this beloved community, for this Hilltop Center for Spiritual Living, for the light on the hill that it is, for the love that is always felt here, for the compassionate heart of it, for the wisdom that is spoken and taught here. And we go forth now, balanced in the wholeness that we are, so aware of both aspects of us having their way. And with a grateful heart, I let this wonderful time together be, and so it is. Amen. Thanks, everybody.